Hello, my good friends. I'm Kayla, and I've seen a whole bunch of book announcements and cover reveals in my feed lately. So we're gonna now read the synopsis of like 40 of them and decide if they sound good or not. The first one that actually popped into my inbox before the internet, but I missed the message about it, is The Ending Writes Itself. This is a book that apparently is going to have a lot of buzz around it in 2026. It's by two authors who are currently unnamed. One of them is like a New York Times bestselling author. One of them is newer to the scene. They've collaborated into this book. And I guess the publisher sent out like 10 to 20 copies to get people, interested in it early and talking about it. And yeah, I have Instagram notifications off. So I didn't see it until like a week later that they had pitched this to me and wanted to send it to me. So I have no early ideas to share with you, but I think some other people around the internet do. And I'm pretty sure soon it's going to be announced everything that this is going to encompass. I briefly read through the synopsis and it says 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. Like this literally sounds like the perfect book for me. In fact, I kind of already want to commit to it being a part of the Literally Dead book club for next year, because apparently every year we read a book like this where a bunch of authors come together at like a writing retreat and then somebody dies. World famous author Arthur Fletch is dead. His final novel, the most anticipated book in history, remains unfinished, but the ending won't write itself. Fletch's publisher has invited 6 authors to Fletch's private island in Scotland, authors whose books have never had the big marketing budgets or publicity opportunities. In other words, mid-list, and they're about to be presented with the opportunity of a lifetime. Me, and I missed it. Whoever writes a worthy ending will receive $1 million and a further $1 million for a new 3-book contract. They have 72 hours. All they have to do is write, but at the end there's going to be murder. Somebody said that it's a mix of And Then There Were None and Yellowface. The collaborative name of these authors is Evelyn Clark. So I'm imagining like one of the authors' name is Evelyn and one of them last name is Clark. So I'm thinking like Lucy Clark because she regularly puts out thrillers. I have some on my TBR, but I don't know why they would combine their names like that. So I'm probably wrong. Like, wouldn't the authors just both put their names on the book? I don't know. I want to know the reason behind all of this. It's obviously just a marketing thing, but is there a good enough reason for it? I'm dying to know. This one is called Greedy by Callie Kazumi. There are 2 different covers. I prefer the hot pink and yellow one, but I would love to know your thoughts. What would you do for a seat at the table in this deliciously dark thriller set in remote Japan? A desperate gambling addict masquerades as a private chef to a reclusive billionaire with deadly taste. We've got our main character, Edward, and the Yakuza are unable to collect what he owes. Ed realizes they'll go after his wife and child next. Broke, desperate, and unemployed, he stumbles upon an unusual chef-wanted private chef needed for a high-profile businesswoman, 1 million yen per day advertisement. Ed accepts the job. He hasn't earned any Michelin stars, but he knows his way around the kitchen. Leaving his life in Tokyo behind, he departs for the opulent estate in the mountains owned by Hazeline Yamamoto, his enigmatic and reclusive benefactor. Okay, the vibes. Do you like them? Interesting. Here's a horror from T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher putting out stuff constantly, multiple books a year. This one's called Wolfworm. I quite like the cover. It's like a little foliage. The year is 1899. Okay, you know how I feel about historical stuff sometimes. Sonia Wilson is a scientific illustrator without work prospects or hope. When they're reclusive, they're also reclusive. Dr. Halder offers her a position illustrating his vast collection of insects. Sonia jumps at the chance to move to his North Carolina manor house and put her talents to use. But soon enough, she finds that there are darker things at work than the Carolina woods. What happened to her predecessor, Halder's wife? Why are animals acting so strangely? And what is behind the peculiar local whispers about blood thieves? With the aid of the housekeeper and local healer, Sonia discovers that Halder's entomological studies have taken him down a dark road full of parasitic maggots that burrow into human flesh, and that his monstrous experiments may grow to encompass his new illustrator as well. Okay, so we're doing more creepy insect things. Why are there so many insect horror? I mean, worm, sorry, is in the title. Should have clocked that earlier. Marcus Cleaver, author of the explosive horror book that I can't remember the title of. It came out last year. We Used to Live Here. This one's called The Caretaker. I really like the cover. And this is another contender for sure for the Literally Dead book club. Let's see. A supernatural horror about a young woman who accepts a caretaking job from a Craigslist ad, only to discover the position has consequences far greater and far more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. As a down-on-her-luck college grad saddled with a disturbing amount of debt, Macy Mullins can't say why the Craigslist post grabbed her attention. It had all the flair of a fisherman's lure, barbed, hooked, and all. But after an endless string of failed job interviews, she's not exactly in the position to be picky. She has rent to pay and a younger sister to provide for. Yeah. Unable to turn down a paycheck, she takes the job. She quickly discovers her responsibilities have stakes far greater and more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. Okay, I'm not actually getting a vibe for like what the scary thing is. So that's obviously on purpose, and hopefully the payoff is really good. This horror is by Yaya Schofield. It's called On Sunday She Picked Flowers, which is familiar to me. I know people have recommended me this, so I imagine it was self-published first. It's being picked up by Saga to come out in 2026. When Judith Rice fled her childhood home, she thought she'd severed her abusive mother's hold on her. She didn't have a plan or destination, just a desperate need to escape. Drawn to the forest of northern Georgia, Jude finds shelter in a house as haunted by its violent history as she is by her own. Jude embraces the eccentricities of the dilapidated house, soothing its ghosts and haunts, honoring its blood-soaked land, and over the next 13 years, Jude blossoms from her bitter beginnings into a wise woman, a healer. But her hard-won peace is threatened when an enigmatic woman shows up at her doorstep. The woman is beautiful but unsettling, captivating but uncanny. Ensnared by her desire for this stranger, Jude is caught off guard by brutal urges suddenly simmering beneath her skin. Okay, it's tagged as queer. I was thinking it was going to be like cyclical, and like the woman that showed up at the door was herself in a different timeline. Anyway, interesting. I see a lot of reviews from like 2020 that seem pretty promising. When I Was Death by Alexis Henderson, I talked about this maybe a couple of videos ago, that Alexis Henderson announced she was doing her first official young adult book. Her horror novels kind of toe the line, but they are in the adult category. This one says a group of teen girls does death incarnate its bidding in this haunted, speculative young adult novel. Rosalind Volk isn't herself anymore. It's been years since her sister Adeline died in the woods under mysterious circumstances, and Rosalind is tormented by her absence. So in the elusive, they're also elusive, caravan of girls that Adeline spent her last summer with rolls back into town, Rosalind joins them to finally figure out what happened to her sister. Strange, beautiful, and intriguing, the girls are closed off from the world. As it turns out, they're brought together by a force more sinister than Rosalind's nightmares could have conjured, Death himself. Death has spared the girls from an untimely ending, and to pay for their lives, the girls travel the country, reaping souls on his behalf. Now Rosalind must decide if finding closure is worth the price of striking the same deal. I don't read a ton of YA horror, but like, I feel like I must. This one, hate the cover. I don't know, it makes me feel weird, but maybe that's the purpose. It's called Plain Wolf by Zuzana Rehova, Alex Zucker as the translator. A couple deep in the woods of a failing marriage find themselves the unwitting victims of a kidnapping plot after they move to a mysterious village in this distinctly poetic and disturbing elegant horror. Okay, for fans of Midsummer and the Witch, husband and wife Bohemil and Bohemilla, together with their son, move from Prague to a remote village with the hopes of salvaging their marriage. In the searing summer heat, they try to fit in with the villagers, only to be met with hostile stares and evasive lies. Each night, the couple hears what they suspect to be a large animal wandering around their cottage, an impression that oddly corresponds to the mysterious flyers found at the local watering hole regarding a wolfen fairy tale. After a drunken night out, they come home and find that their son is gone. Well, yeah, he's the wolf, obviously. A dark societal tale that slides inexorably towards psychological horror. Will I read it? Maybe. Oh, it came out in 2021 and now it's being translated. I see. The original cover, maybe I like more. I don't know. What do you think? Another YA horror. I don't know if I'll be reading this one, but I have read from Ryan LaSala, haven't I, before? So I thought I would just let you know The Dead of Summer is coming out. Yeah, that's the author of The Honeys, which I thought was decent. Welcome to the Island of Anchor's Mercy. I really like the colors of this cover. For generations, Anchor's Mercy has welcomed visitors from all over the world to revel in the island's pristine beauty and queer culture, but something is very wrong. And Ollie is going to have to figure it out if he wants to stop his island and everyone upon it from drowning within a supernatural, radiant plague rising from the waves. Told as a kaleidoscopic drama between past and present, narration and interview, text and pictures, Intriguing. The Dead of Summer is a story with a scavenger hunt for truth so dangerous it will make your skin crawl and your lungs ache for air. Get ready to scream. Okay, whoever wrote that. Incredible. Then we have The Body by Bethany Seymour, which I feel like I've been talking about for a year. It finally got a cover. I like it. It is a pulse-pounding supernatural horror story. Mavis broke from her parents' congregation years ago, but still hasn't recovered. Their impossible expectations and soul-shredding critiques have dug deep into her mind, and she's taunted by the knowledge that even when she's done nothing wrong, she'll never be right. Now Mavis is afraid she's about to lose the only thing she has, her husband. The man she's always known was too good to be true. No one thinks she deserves him, not even after surviving the serial cheater they wanted her to stick by. And soon they'll all find out they were right. Mavis is already unraveling, clearly, when a brush with death shows her what real fear looks like. Soon she's under constant attack from all directions. As the assaults turn increasingly violent and bizarre, Mavis realizes that hell isn't reserved for the afterlife. And sinner or not, no one is coming to save her. Okay. I didn't like Cherish Vera, but I liked a song Below Water. So we'll see how this one goes. Luke Dumas, who I have enjoyed a book from and not enjoyed a book from, so this will be a third time's a charm kind of vibe, has Nothing Tastes as Good coming out. It's got a donut, a jelly-filled donut. I like it because it's giving like a little vampire kind of vibe, but also I don't like it. Retail worker Emmett has never fit the Southern California mold of six-pack suntanned masculinity. Over 300 pounds, he carries the weight of his childhood trauma. Is this not a vampire story? Did I make that up? He enrolls in a clinical trial for a new weight loss product. The treatment is as horrifying as the results are miraculous. Oh my God, he gets superhuman speed and killer side effects, lost stretches of time, and overwhelming cravings. Worse, people who were cruel to him have started disappearing. And when the police warn of a cannibalistic killer on the loose, that's him. He fears that it's turning him into a monster. I saw this cover, The Night Is Not For You by Iman Quota. A man's body is found viciously murdered behind a neighborhood's corner store, sending shockwaves through the tight-knit community in a small neighborhood. What? In this small town neighborhood. There's so many dashes in this paragraph. It's throwing me off. All the victim's family and bystanders want is to make sense of this brutal crime and move on with their lives. But all 7-year-old Layla wants is a pet donkey. What? To her, a donkey is the epitome of freedom and being self-sufficient. To think for herself, go anywhere by herself, and live an independent life. That took a turn. As the killings continue, Layla's world unravels. Rumors start to fly of supposed hoof prints and a woman with hair like black silk. As the ambiguous messages in lipstick and sweet smell of perfume cause the finger of blame to point towards the woman, Layla herself grows into a woman. The kind of woman she's always dreamt of being, a woman with sharp instincts, a woman who cannot be tamed, a woman with a donkey. That's not part of it. What? The night is not for you. It has always belonged to her. Okay. This feels like a book full of big metaphors, and I'm going to let you all read it before me. Clay McLeod Chapman has a novella. I want to say this is a novella coming out, which I love a horror novella, so this is exciting. It's called Bodies of Work. At 66 years old, that woman on the cover is not 66 years old. Winston has always been a non-entity. Okay, this is about a man. No one notices him. His simple existence barely registers to those who come in contact with him. Some call him feeble-minded. He's a janitor at a church. Blah, 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 blah. Winston is a collector of voices. And his magnum opus, The Butterfly Girls, is a sprawling epic of untapped imagination. It has no single canvas, no particular frame. It is everywhere, scribbled on the walls, the floor, countless notebooks. Winston is creating a fantasia which exists in words, images, and blood. As a part of his art, he has been murdering forgotten women. Yikes! Poor souls who slip through the cracks of society who no one's looking for. Mothers, sisters, daughters. Winston takes their lives, their voices, and now he can hear them. They whisper to him, they talk of revenge. Winston might not believe in ghosts, but he's about to learn they're very real and they're very, very angry. I'm into it. Eric LaRocca has Wretch, or The Unbecoming of Porcelain Caw. Okay, I like the cover because, you know, it's 80s horror nostalgia, but also, have you seen those candles? They're like so popular right now. The like figures, people's bodies. This is a quick little synopsis. So let's see. After his husband dies, Simeon finds himself overcome by grief and seeking comfort in an unusual support group called the Wretches, who offer an addictive and dangerous source of relief. They introduce Simeon to a curious figure known as Porcelain Caw, a man with the ability to let those who are grieving have one last intimate moment with their beloved ones, for a price. Hallucinatory, fiendish, and destructively beautiful, Wretch transports us to a world where not everything is as it seems, and those we love may be the ones who haunt us most. Sounds simple. I bet it's nasty. Here's a mystery by Kit Frick. This is, I think, an adult novel, but I'm pretty sure Kit Frick has published YA previously, but maybe it's been a mix. This one, Friends and Liars, says it's been 5 years since heiress Claire Monroe tragically died on New Year's Eve at her family's opulent Italian palazzo. Since that time, her college friends have harbored a dark secret. Their lies and betrayals led to Claire's untimely death. Oh no. What happened that fateful night was a horrible accident, but Luca Harper, Serena, and David are guilty nonetheless, and their desperate decision to conceal the truth destroyed their once close bond. Now the estranged friends are each the recipient of an invitation from the Monroes to return for a long overdue memorial for Claire, and I guess all of the secrets are going to be revealed. This one is tagged as thriller. Pinky Swear by Danielle Gerard. She's also published a few things, but this is the first cover that I think has intrigued me from her. Lexi thought she knew everything about Mara. Best friends since middle school, they drifted apart after a tragedy derailed their senior year. But when Mara shows up on Lexi's doorstep 16 years later, fleeing an abusive husband, Lexi takes her in without question. Lexi's own marriage has been strained by her desire to have a baby, and when Mara offers to become her surrogate, their friendship feels stronger than ever. This one's not for me, but it might be for you. 4 days before the due date, Mara disappears. How many secrets lie in their shared past waiting to be uncovered, and just how far will Lexi go to bring her child home safely? Oh my gosh, that sounds stressful. Okay, then we have a short story collection with rabbits on the cover, which is why I'm sure a couple of you sent this to me. It's called Tell Me Yours, I'll Tell You Mine by Christina 10. The new kid in school discovers a diabolical presence in the depths of an English language learning CD-ROM, a declining empire in its last desperate gasp, designs an elaborate matchmaking system around cootie catchers and soda can tabs. A former varsity volleyball player reopens the grisly wounds of her youth, haunted by a lost friend. In each story, the game has been twisted. In each game, players make their own rules. Through a bloody, shattered lens, the artifacts of growing up take on a new and disquieting power. Riddles remain unsolved, pranks have perilous stakes, and superstition won't save you. Whoever wrote that, shout out to you. That comes out in October. Okay, enough of the scary things. Let's switch to, I don't know, a couple like romance books. Rainbow Rowell has another adult romance coming out called Cherry Baby. Everyone knows that Cherry's husband Tom is in Hollywood making a movie. Almost nobody knows he isn't coming home. Why not? Tom is the creator of Thursday, a semi-autobiographical webcomic turned best-selling graphic novel turned international phenomenon. That means there's a character in this movie based on Cherry. Wide-hipped, heavy-chested, double-chinned baby. Cherry never wanted this. No fat girl wants to see herself caricatured on the page. While her soon-to-be ex-husband is in Los Angeles getting rich and famous and being the internet's latest boyfriend, Cherry is stuck in Omaha taking care of the dog he wanted. She ventures out to see her favorite band play her favorite album, and someone recognizes her from across the room. Russ Sutton knew Cherry when she was a young art student with a fondness for pinup dresses and patent leather heels before Tom. Russ knows Cherry. He likes Cherry. And best of all, he's never heard of Thursday. Okay, that sounds boring. Let's get into romantasy, I guess. Female Fantasy by Iman Hariri Kia. I just think the title is interesting. Junie is living in a fantasy, at least that's what people tell her. Men in the real world have done nothing but disappoint her. Is she gonna fall in love with it like a book character? Men disappoint her again and again. She keeps her heart reserved for Reich, the fictional male lead of her favorite romance series who happens to be a merman. And so far, her book boyfriend is meeting her needs more than any other real man ever has. When she learns that Reich's character is based on a friend of the author, Junie is determined to track him down and take her shot at a happily ever after. Oh my god. She'll need to borrow her brother's car for the road trip, with the one condition that his annoying but also hot best friend can catch a ride to New York with her. But as she makes her way to her male lead, she'll learn that once you wish fantasy into reality. You have to take all the tropes that come with it, not just the fun ones. I was just thinking that, like, it's probably going to be one of those stories where, like, you build someone up in your mind and then he's not exactly as you expect because it's like a fictional version of him. But she's bringing a hot guy along with her, so they're going to fall in love on the road trip instead. That's fun. I like this idea. I think I will read it. Another one on the list, I'll find it, is Throne of Nightmares by Carrie Maniscalco, the third book in the Prince of Sin series. I loved the first one. I liked the second one. I don't know if I'm picking up the third one because, like, I also really easily forget side characters, so I don't really remember who this is even about and if I care. Prince Sloth hates leaving his enchanted library. Okay, I like an enchanted library. But when a forgotten deity threatens the very fabric of the underworld, he's thrust into a race against time. He must find the Book of Nightmares, an ancient artifact that has the power to break worlds, before it unleashes a deadly game to free its master, the Goddess of Night. Okay. When a betrayal leaves him marked and desperate, his path collides with a young woman who possesses the legendary Phoenix Tear, a portal stone unlike any other. You're selling me. Lore Brimstone, what a stupid fucking name, has always loved getting lost in a book, but she never meant literally. Yet after visiting a traveling caravan, she quickly finds herself transported to a terrifying but oddly familiar world with a calculating prince at her side. Realizing they are living out her favorite novel. Fuck, this sounds good. They face off against an increasingly dark magic as they try to survive the story. And it's gonna be steamy. Okay, fine. I like the cover more than the other two, but I would love you to rank them down below. Which is your favorite? I don't actually like any of them, but this one's the best. This one, I thought the cover was absolutely beautiful, so I want to find out what it's about. Burn the Sea by Mona Tawari. It says, to protect her homeland, one queen must fight her people's historic enemy once and for all. Abaka, never expected to be queen. The youngest... Oh, there's a lot of words in here I don't know. The youngest of Ulal's two Rajkumaris, Abaka has spent years in rigorous combat training to become her sister's blade. But when the monstrous Porguki attempt to lay claim on Ulal, Abaka's world and fate are upended. The Porgaki, giant half-men, half-snakes who attack from the sea, haven't been seen in Ulal since their failed invasion more than 50 years ago, but now they're back with a vengeance and a choice. Pay their tithes or suffer total devastation. Soon Abaka's definitions of strength, subterfuge, and statecraft are put to the test. Will marriage to a neighboring king give her the resources she needs to protect her people, or will she watch her homeland be crushed beneath the waves of would-be colonizers? Intriguing. Yes. If you read A Palace Near the Wind by Ai Jiang, which I haven't yet, but I've read another thing from that author, the sequel, A River from the Sky, is coming out. It just got a cover. I thought I'd let you know. The Forest at the Edge of Time. I like a time book. Let's see. I like the cover-ish. It's by Jasmine Kirkbride. Recruited by the mysterious Project Kairos to change history and save future from ecological disaster, Echo and Hazel are transported through time to opposite worlds. Echo works as a healer's assistant. Embroiled in dangerous politics and wild philosophy, Hazel is the last human alive in a laboratory on a polluted island with nothing but tiny robots and an untrustworthy AI for company. Both women suffer from amnesia, but when they fall asleep, their consciousness transcends time and they meet in their dreams. Together, they start to uncover their past, but soon discover the past threatens humanity's survival. Ooh, I like the idea of that. Another T. Kingfisher, we have 9 Goblins, which I think was T. Kingfisher's first ever novella. And now it's being republished by Tor. There was the original cover and then Tor's cover, I think. Let me know what you think. A tale of low fantasy and high mischief. When a party of goblin warriors find themselves trapped behind enemy lines, it'll take more than whining and a bemused elven veterinarian to get them home again. 9 Goblins is a novella of low, very low fantasy. I'll probably read it. Oh, there's a new Ava Reid coming. This is the first in a duology, I believe. It's called The House of Teeth is the series. The first one is called Inamorata, and I don't see a synopsis. It's 560 pages. I like the cover-ish. Once there was an island where the death walked the earth, and 7 noble houses ruled by the arcane secrets of necromancy. A conqueror's blade brought them low, burning their libraries, killing their lords, and extinguishing their eldritch magic. but defiant against the new order stands the House of Teeth and its last living members. Beautiful Morosia, the heiress to the house, and her cousin, the uncanny Lady Agnes. Though she's not spoken a word in 7 years, Agnes is the true carrier of the house's legacy, and she has her orders. She must recapture the secrets of death magic and avenge her family's fallen honor. Okay, that sounds interesting. I mean, I've never had a great time with Ava Reed, but I do get intrigued by her book synopses. So next, I think the rest might be fiction, general fiction. Is This a Cry for Help by Emily R. Austin, her upcoming thing. Darcy's life turned out better than she could have ever imagined. That's great. Usually we kick off with like sad girls. She's a librarian at the local branch while her wife Joy runs a bookbinding service. There's a very loud bass from a car that is now parked outside my house. Her wife runs a bookbinding service. Between the two of them, there's no more room on the shelves with their ample book collections. Darcy receives the news that her ex-boyfriend Ben has passed away. She then spirals into a pit of guilt and regret, resulting in a mental breakdown and medical leave from the library. When she returns to work, she's met by unrest in her community and protests surrounding intellectual freedom, resulting in a call for book bans and a second look at the branch's upcoming DEI programs. Interesting. Through the support of her community, colleagues, and personal growth that results from examining her previous relationship, Darcy comes into her own agency and the truest version of herself. Okay, I will probably be reading that. Then we have A Good Person by Kristen King, which says it's a mix between Big Swiss and Gone Girl, which is a very interesting combination. Lillian and Henry have been enjoying each other's company, especially in bed. Even though Lillian's best friend calls it a situationship, Lillian is determined to lock Henry down and she has a plan. She'll be the best, most accommodating version of herself until he falls in love with her. Girl. But when Henry blindsides Lillian with a breakup, Lillian exacts revenge by performing a drunken hex on him. Lillian expects Henry to come crawling back to her. What she doesn't anticipate is becoming a prime suspect in his murder case when he's found dead. As Lillian grapples with the loss of her sort of boyfriend, she's hit with another secret that Henry had a longtime girlfriend he also left behind. Desperate to control the narrative, clear her name, and assume her rightful place as Henry's mourning girlfriend, Lillian's pursuit of truth will throw her into a dangerous tailspin. A deliciously addictive novel. Oh dear. That sounds stressful. Ashley Winstead has something coming up. I've read romance from her and thrillers from her, and this just seems like a general fiction, maybe romance. A good amount of romance. It's called The Future Saints. I've read, I think, the synopsis before, but it didn't have a cover. I like the cover enough. It says it's a love story, but not the one you're expecting. Maybe I haven't read this, but I knew like the pitch of it was about a band. When record executive Theo meets the Future Saints, they're bombing at a dive bar in their hometown. Since the tragic death of their manager, the band has been on a downward spiral, and Theo has been dispatched to coax a new and successful album out of them or let them go. Immediately, Theo is struck by Hannah, the group's impetuous lead singer, who's gone off script by debuting a whole new sound, replacing their California pop with gut-wrenching rock. But Hannah's grief has larger consequences for the group, and her increasingly destructive antics become a distraction as she and her sister undermine Theo at every turn. Okay, it sounds a little bit messy, and I think I'll read it. This one I really like the cover of. It's called Whidbey. It says it's epic in scope and a stunning literary achievement. All right. Birdie Chang didn't know anything about Whidbey Island when she chose it, only that it was about as far away as she could get from her own life. She's a woman on the run, desperate for an escape from the headlines back home and the look of concern in her girlfriend's eyes, and from Calvin Boyer, the man who abused her as a child who's now resurfaced. On her way, she has an unnerving encounter with a stranger on the ferry who offers her a proposition, a sinister solution, a plan for revenge. But Birdie isn't the only girl Calvin harmed back then. There's also Lindsay King, a former reality TV star who recently wrote about it in her best-selling memoir. The two women have never met, but their stories intertwine. She's ready to crack open the book's spine and read the other woman's story when she gets a call from his mother saying that he's been murdered. Now, both women are in a desperate search for answers. It's not tagged as thriller mystery, but it sounds like it sounds like a mystery book. It's a tense and provocative debut that's sure to incite crucial questions about the pursuit of justice. And I think that's all I've got for you today. If there's anything you think that I missed, check some of the last couple episodes because I go through things pretty regularly every couple months. But if there's anything that's been recently announced that you think that I would enjoy, please let me know, and let me know if you're going to read any of these. I like figuring out together which I should have on my radar and reading everything out to you. I know the videos are a little bit boring, but some people are into them because it's kind of like listening to an audiobook, you know? Like, you don't have to read the synopsis of 20 books. Like, I just read them to you so you can rest your eyes. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me in this casual Wednesday video, and I'll see you this weekend with a vlog. Bye!